podcast. It's good to have you. We're on episode 3 of the podcast. So we're definitely going to try to keep kicking this up a notch.
Yeah, don't make that pun.
All right. Oh, yeah. I didn't actually even think about the pun.
Dude, you turned and looked at me. There's no way that you...
No, I didn't even think about that. So now that actually makes it kind of funny.
Okay.
So so you used to be a competitor, no longer competitor.
Officially retired.
Officially. So when did you first get into Smash? Like, give us some history where you came from before your retirement.
Man, you want history or you want my competitive history?
Well, here you can give us like a quick general history just to see, how you got into Smash. And, which Smash pulled you in,
Well, when I was a wee lad, way back in the day, I would play 64 with one of my kids in the neighborhood who got video games. I didn't get video games. So we'd play that a bunch. I just played Kirby because Kirby was so broken in that game, clearly. I knew everything about that game. And then went on to Melee, and I'd only play at a friend's house. And I really remember the first time I was going to just be like, you know what, I want to be really good at this game. We had an in-school tournament, and I went up against my best friend. And still to this day, I've not played a closer game with anyone and felt so tense. And we went to game 3, last stock, blah, blah, blah. And I took him out. It wasn't for any money or anything, but it felt champion.
Bragging rights.
Yeah, exactly. And it totally went to my head.
As it does for everyone.
For a lot of people, yeah.
Especially when you're young.
Oh yeah. No, I was young kick at the time. I was young kick for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a long patch of history that was young kick. Still young kick. I go and start working at Nintendo and immediately get spanked by literally nobody's in there. And so I have no idea how to play this game.
So when did you start playing or working at Nintendo?
I started when I was 20, and I got the job through some really strange means. But I started working there mainly because my buddy Eric Compton. Shout outs. I'm gonna try not to just name drop all the time, just because that's how I remember things.
I get you.
But yeah, we were childhood best friends, and he had started working there, and he was so goddamn happy to be working at Nintendo and just freaking out about it. I was like, you know what, let me try this too. So I was around 20. I was coming off of a bunch of different jobs, but I was like, dude, Nintendo, this is gonna be so cool. But yeah, I started working there, and there were, in the break room, they have a Melee machine.
Okay.
And so there were people there who were really, really good, and I remember going in there, and it was people who weren't good that were kicking the hell out of me. I was like, how do I deal with Luigi falling at me? Because he's got down air, and if I shield that, I'm still on my shield. What am I supposed to do? I had no idea of higher concepts. I figured out spot dodging and thought I was God, essentially. And then I got woken up by, not even big boys. And so I quit the game at that point. I was like, oh, God, I suck. And then, a year or so later, I come back and I start looking at it and I start watching these guys and they're pretty dang good. Man, I kind of want to play this game like this. And I play against them a few times, and then I picked up wave dashing and won one free for all by wave dashing back and forward, smashing his Falcon as he came in. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't feel good about that because it was a free for all, but God, it felt so good.
Yeah.
And so after that, I just talked to Tyler Stevens. Once again, try not to, but he taught me how to play competitively, really. I just talked to him. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to play this game. And he's like, okay, here's how you do it. And he just started teaching me wave dash and simple mechanics. Found out that what is it? I haven't talked about shuffling, because I never we don't talk about shuffling when you get up to a certain point. It's that's just a thing you do.
Now, was this in what game? Was this in Melee?
This was still Melee.
And now, what character did you play in Melee? Were you playing Bowser?
God, I kind of wish. No, but I was playing Mario.
Okay.
Young Kick was he was a huge Mario dude.
Okay. Just trying to get some context.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because it's did you really start the Legend as Bowser? And it's no, I had taste. Yeah, so Mario was really fun. And I was working with him because he just his movement started feeling good. And so I didn't really go to tournaments at that point. I think I'm trying to remember the first actual tournament I went to. I know it was a Game Clux. I want to say it was a Game Clux, yeah. And actually, this was for PM. Yeah, because after this point, like,
how long
I started
ago
learning
was that?
these things. How long ago was that?
Yeah.
God damn, dude, I don't remember. I'm trying to think. The first tournament was like 2014, 2013. I
So it was like
remember
3-4
exactly.
years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
It was just about when we were entering the scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. Because my first tournament match ever, when I was playing PM, was against this short-haired kid playing Donkey Kong, and he would always grab me, and he would use the cargo throw forward, it'd like jump up forward, and then he'd go for the forward air, but he'd always miss because I was playing Mario and I just DI correctly, and I did some really stupid shit. I messed up on some tech and he was recovering and we were falling at each other, and I was just like, dude, this is wild, but maybe I should forward. And I got him with like a forward air, and I felt really, really good about it. And I was like, dude, that was a really good game. That was really, really close. I ended up winning. I think it was game 3. And I was like, dude, if you've gotten your like throw combos together. He's like, yeah, dude, I guess I didn't know that Mario just doesn't like go into that stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, that was good. What's your tag again? Chevy. Chevy was my first tournament match, man. It was like, it was so long ago. He looks nothing like he does now. Like, absolutely nothing.
I remember early Chevy. We still have, I think I could probably pull up a picture of him on our website.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an early Chevy picture. Or maybe it's on the server. I won't bother with you that, but so that was your first match.
That was my first tournament match. I went up against Chevy in his DK days.
Man, it seems like a lot of people have had their first experiences with Chevy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, dude. The dude's been around for a super long time. Well, I shouldn't say a super long time, but like he's so mobile within the PM community, and you see him a lot more than like most of our other players. I would say like Tyler gets similar exposure because he's all over net play. He's always playing net play. I think I hear about him the most when I hear about net play. Though I heard from Chevy that apparently Chevy was #1 on net play at a certain point.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to ask him.
Yeah, he said so in the Discord chat, so it's definitely true.
Oh yes, because anything you hear on the internet,
yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah,
it's got to be true.
Well, back to the Melee days. I actually met some pretty interesting people there. There was the big boy Tyler, nice guy. I can't remember what like tag he'll use. I guess it's just Tyler. He was saying, because I'd always ask about it. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen videos of him. He was a Washington dude. Met him at Nintendo. He's stupid good. If he played, he would crush PR. He would be like 5 easy, no problem. Zeddy, he would crush you. Like, no offense, Zeddy, but like he is so good at this game. Yeah, I would love to see him fight Zeddy, just because that match would be so entertaining. Not in the sense of like, oh, it'd be so entertaining because he'd be crushed. I'm like thinking about it now. I'm like, you know what? Actually, that would be such a good fucking match. I would love to watch that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like he had such a crazy Falcon, and he played so many good characters, or I should say, characters well. And he was really good with like top 6 characters, and like you'd always show me different things about him. Whatever new characters came out on PM, I was always like, oh, that's my new main, because that's like the kind of dude I was at the time. Like Mewtwo came out, and I was like, dude, let's play. I'm gonna play Hello Mewtwo, and Mewtwo's gonna be my boy.
And it always whoever learns those new characters earlier and really puts some serious time into them, they always get that early advantage because the character becomes so new that the way
matchups are just unknown.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you know how to abuse the character a certain way, you could take advantage of that. And for a while, you'll be the bane of everyone's existence until everyone essentially catches up with the metagame.
Yeah, and then you get to play the adjustment. And so like you can always like keep it edge, but there's usually a certain point with like, no matter how good you get, you're not going to be like top dogs. Like they're going to figure you out. Yeah, and they'll just do it with their character. It doesn't matter. Like mentality does so much for this game.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a matter of time. So like, I don't know. That's why like losing a game doesn't really, it shouldn't matter as much to a lot of players. And like you watch it for top players, and like it hurts from time to time, but they understand, and they're like, it's part of the game, and you know what, there's going to be another tournament. And
a lot of those top players, they've been in the game long enough where this is early Chevy.
Yeah, the early Chevy. Oh my God. That's him. I sat down next to him. I had no idea who he was at the time. I was so new to it.
He looked like he was clean shaven. He looked like He looked like a human being back then. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I don't want to dog on Chevy.
I remember that. I remember. That's how you describe me when you look at my driver's license. Because it's like short hair with the hell.
It's just a phrase I use a lot because my dad used to tell that to me all the time. Yeah. Like up to a few hours ago, I had a very scraggly beard, as you may have remembered yesterday.
A little bit.
And a lot more facial hair, and my hair was longer. I got a haircut and got all that taken care of.
Yeah. I remember your hair being longer. I'm like super bad at like saying anything about haircuts because I'm like, oh, did that already happen? I'm not sure. So if you like say it as if it was new.
I don't care.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, it's not one of those things I try to.
Well, good. I feel way better about it then.
So going back to the Melee days, you meet Chevy, you're in the Game Clux days, you're playing Mario. Was there any kind of significant moments back then, or any people that you looked up to? Anyone, anything that? And then at the same token, how'd you get into PM, and eventually how did you switch to that Bowser main? The
Bowser, yeah. So the other quick shout outs, I guess, to the people that I remember from the early days was Caped. If you remember Caped, Jeremiah. He started
Is he in Japan now?
No, he's not in Japan. He's in Florida. Okay. He's got a wife. He's got a kid, man. He's got a different life.
Okay, I remember him.
Yeah. He's super good. Never seen a new player like adapt so quickly. Like, and that like adaptation is like its own specific stat, and like God, he was so good at it. He was also a Mario player, and so we would like trade Mario notes all the time. But then Dan, Mr. Apples,
who Dan also Loesch, left
Dan
us.
Yes, he has gone back to his homeland. But
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing him sometime soon, but like we might be seeing him sometime soon. Which would be super dope. Oh my God, I'd lose my mind. I'd probably cry. Not going to lie. I'd cry. But yeah, ran into him at Nintendo as well. It was really weird. I was actually introduced through when I was hired on at Nintendo. I met this girl named Kaylee, who's super fun, super awesome. I don't get to see her too much anymore. But she came to one of the house parties that me and my ex had, and she brought her boyfriend. She was like, is it okay if I bring a boyfriend? He plays Smash Bros. Too. I'm like, fuck you, bring this man in here.
Sure.
And that was Dan. It was Apples. He comes in the door, and he's like, hey, are you the Smash guy? And I'm like, yeah, get on in here. And then he beat me in my own house. I was so upset. I was so upset by that experience. I was just
How bad was it?
It was pretty bad. Like, I think he three-stocked me in game one. And I was like, oh my God, this guy could play. Like,
So how'd you take it?
Immediately felt outclassed. I was like interested. I was like, wow, you're really good. Like, I don't really know how to respond right now. I was still a young kick, and like my ego was extremely fragile, and especially in front of girls. I was like, of course, this is my house, my girlfriend. You can't do this. Yeah, but like ran into him there. But that was after I started playing PM. And how I got into PM really quick. Oh my God, killing yourself like that. Sorry, we're watching Bigger Balk right now.
Yes.
And Jfist, Jfist. I guess I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's Jfist. Yeah.
I think it's Jfist too. He just like suicided himself, and it was pretty bad. Anyways. Where was I? I was talking about PM.
Was one of your first PM experiences with Dan?
It was actually it was at Nintendo. Okay. Which is even more interesting.
Well, wait, hold on. Wait.
Yeah, I'm starting to think.
Hold on. You know what? Explain this a little.
No, I'm not gonna. Let's just say.
All right. So there's some underground rebels at Nintendo that are playing PM, or are they using it as R&D?
Let me say that. No, they didn't. No,
I just
you have nothing on me.
I just wondered.
I'm starting to think about the implications of that. No, so like, yeah, they knew about it, and so that's how I got introduced to it. I'm just gonna say that, and then I really started like wanting to play it more. I started playing a bunch of different characters. This was also the time that I looked at Bowser because I was like, oh, he has armor frames. Ooh, this is interesting. I can do really dumb stuff with him, and it works out. Haha. Played him a little tiny bit. I was Mario boy. No, I'm going back to Mario. But it was after, like a few contracts at Nintendo that Dan worked at Nintendo for a very short time. And then he left because he hated it. And he had other things to worry about. And he got a job with Caped over at Google, which is, if you know Bebop, he's also in that group. They had all gotten jobs over at Google, and they're like, dude, come to Google, we have a Smash setup. We can play for so long every day. Come join us. And I was like, please. And Aerotech, who hired me on for Nintendo, also hires for Google. So I had connections, and they're like, yeah, so this is like basically a formality. We want to hire you. Just come in so we can put a face to the name. And I was like, oh my God, yes. I did pretty well at Nintendo, which I really honestly can't talk that much about.
That's fine. So then they just basically like, sure,
yeah,
cool.
come on in. Yeah, and so I started working for them, and there, I shit you not, if we were having a really productive day at our work, we could play Smash up to 4 hours.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my God, it was insane. That's where I really started getting into the PM.
So is that how Google works over there? As long as you get your quota of work done?
It used to be. I was working for Niantic at the time, who specifically, they're actually super cool. Pokemon Go. Before they did Pokemon Go, they had a game called Ingress. I'm not sure if Ingress is still going, actually. All I know is they downsized us, and I didn't care anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, they downsized, shipped everything off to a different office, and so we had to, interview for jobs elsewhere.
Of course.
And so me and Dan interviewed, and we got jobs elsewhere.
Man, you sounds like you had a bumpy ride for a while.
Oh, it was all right. The transfer was like instant, and then I got sent to a really cool project. Also can't talk about it, which sucked. Like, dude, I got like cool, kind of interesting jobs, and then it's like, dude, I honestly can't tell you that much. I take my NDAs pretty seriously.
I get that a little bit from time to time with Star Citizen, although it doesn't sound like much. Mm-hmm. Because of how much money I've pledged to the game, and because of my participation in certain beta patches. Sometimes I'll get very early invites or looks at exclusive content
like updates
under NDA, and I can't say anything about it. And or same thing with Battlefield. Like every Battlefield, I always get like the super early alpha. You get NDA'd, and it's like, this game is so good, but I can't tell you anything about it.
Anything. Yeah, I've been on a couple projects like that. Once it's out, though, I can talk about it. So like, I was one of those hot shot testers. All I can tell you is that like, what I want to say, if you look at the Nintendo guide. I actually haven't looked at the Nintendo guide and haven't compared, but I was told on the last day they went around for Mario Kart 7. They're like, hey, we need all your best times. The guide's trying to like put this together. Like, here's a spreadsheet. Everyone put it in. And I was pretty good at that game. I was never good at racing games, but then you test the game. You play 8 hours a day. You get good at it. And yeah, like, I went through and I did all the time trials, and like it's just like funny story to me. It was like one of the dudes who did the time trials. He's like, dude, I haven't seen Corey's name on here. We have like all these stages covered. And then he refreshes the page one morning, and the first level is like my name, my time, and it's like crush the old score by like 4 seconds, which like doesn't sound that much until you start getting into speedrunning. You're like, 4 seconds? 4 seconds? Jeez, how, like, what are you doing? Like, I am so unoptimized. That's got to be it. So he's like, oh, okay, well, there's Corey. And then he refreshed it again a little bit later, and then the first 3 tracks were under my name, and he's like, oh, God, here we go. I made a clean sweep of all 32. I missed 2 of the tracks, and then I talked to one of the guys who had it, and he's like, dude, I kind of want you to have this. And all we talked about was, like, when to use the mushroom. And I was like, oh, here, it actually does this. And, oh, okay, I got
you. So you learned how to have used the mechanic just right on that map. So then
Yeah, you figure out, like, when to use the mushroom. You get 3, and so on the time trials, you either go for, like, 1 huge boost, so you use up all 3, or like 2 on a very specific skip on either lap 2 or lap 3. The advantage of like, I don't know that much about the competitive community for it now, but like when it was coming out, I was working all over that thing. I wanted to be good, but like, I set all the records for all the stages, and then one of the dudes, I shit you not, half an hour before we closed down, last day on the project, one of the dudes who had been in the time trials, like, he ran his level daily, and he worked on that level daily, and he comes back and he's like, dude, I beat your score. I'm sorry, man, you're gonna have to walk away with 31. And I was like, dude, I'm super proud of you for doing that.
But you must have been super
And then I go right back to playing it 10 minutes before the project ends, I come back and I'm like, I got 2 seconds on your score. He's, no. He was kind of heartbroken, but he took it really, really well. Even though it's like, it's not something that you should care that much
it's
about.
It's that competitive spirit.
Yeah, like he'd worked really hard. He was the only one who had a track. And so, yeah, like apparently if you look at the player's guide, you see all my best times.
And which Mario Kart is
Mario
this for?
Kart 7, that's the 3DS one.
We're going to have to look at that one later.
Yeah, dude, it was super fun. We missed a huge bug on it, but that's okay. It got fixed. It got patched.
That's good.
But yeah. So yeah, PM, that's the thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first started it at Nintendo, and then Google was when I really started like picking it up and playing it a whole bunch. And Dan was the one who really started encouraging me to go out to tournaments. I'd gone to like Northwest Majors a little bit beforehand because some of the Nintendo dudes would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And at my first Northwest Majors, it was pretty interesting. Actually, I think it was my second one. It was definitely my second one because I wore like a suit that day. I get called up for my first game. And I hear the tag, and I'm like, that's a weird, stupid tag. I run into the dude. He comes in. He's a pretty cool dude. He's wearing a hat. Sits down next to me. It's like, all right, let's play. And he picks Ivysaur. And I picked Bowser. This is the time where I was like, actually, right before the tournament, I was going to play Mario. And I was like, totally dead set. And then I started playing friendlies against some guys who were really good. And I shat on them with Bowser. Like, legitimately, I started, like, using, like, the down B tech to ledge. And I was like, this is so good. I can just edge guard him, and it kills him so early. Like, this Ness was tearing me apart 4-stocking me, and now I'm 3-stocking him with Bowser. Dude, I think I should go Bowser this tournament. I was feeling really good about it. So I ran into this guy. His Ivysaur hit me once in the first game. Just once. He sweet spotted a forward air, and that was it. That was all he got.
That we know?
Yeah, if you want to get to the end of the story.
All right, continue the story.
No, it's fine.
No,
second game was much better.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like, yeah, all right, you got me. And I was like, was this your first tournament match? He's like, yeah, it was. I was like, dude, you did fine. This is super cool. I'm glad you're coming out for this kind of thing. Ran into him a year later. He improved more so than any player I'd ever seen. Totally put me on tilt the whole time while playing him. I think we went to game 3 like last stock, and it ends. And I was just like, dude, I'm legitimately proud of you. Like, you got so much better. Remind me what your tag is. And it was Llama Juice. It was our good friend Anthony. I was like Anthony's first tournament match. This is super crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah, it's a little bit like universe stuff going on. I guess I don't know. Dan would definitely say stuff. That. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you run into a lot of really interesting people at tournaments, and like it takes a long time until you recognize like, oh dude, like this is how we met, like way back in the day, and like that's super cool. Sometimes you don't know about like the cool people in your community until you like really start reaching out. And so yeah, Anthony was like the first dude I started reaching out to. Dan had just moved back home. Actually, I am actually getting a little ahead of myself here.
Sure.
Because, so I ran into Anthony. I was working with Dan a whole bunch, and he was like, okay, dude, you got to start coming out to tournaments. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure if my ego can handle it. He's like, dude, you should be coming out to tournaments. Jeremiah's been going to tournaments and actually doing super hot. Like, you should be doing it. So I finally decided to do it, and I don't know, Bebop didn't join us at that time, but Bebop, love that guy. I really wish, his name's Dominic. Really wish, Dominique, sorry, he always corrects me. But like, love that dude. Oh my God, Flip. Sorry,
it's okay.
Watching the bigger back. He was super rad. I wanted him to come to all the tournaments as well. He is like basically inactive though. He's a really solid player. He beat Chief like his first time out. Like, that's pretty crazy. With Link against Sheik, like that matchup sucks, but he did it. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, we were all like gonna start being like a tournament group, but it mostly turned into like me and Dan.
Was it like what with the early formings of ESS and the whole?
Yeah. I think I went to a few of the like after like 20 or so. I think maybe that's when I started going to ESS, and I was still doing Character Crisis. I ran into like so many different people playing different characters. I ran into Shockbound, and I just didn't like his Game & Watch, and he was really quiet. I ran into him while I was playing Mario. He doesn't remember it. I do. I remember it very clearly because that's when I was like, oh, Game & Watch is stupid.
Was he a good Game & Watch?
Yeah, he's a super good Game & Watch, but like I was just frustrated because like I didn't know how to deal with the matchup, and I thought it was pretty good. I figured it out later. And then I ran into Zeddy, I want to say, when I was doing my DK phase, and like I remember taking a game off of him or something. He like flipped up the hood and he was ready to go, man. Like it was a long time ago. That was like a year or two until I like really met Zeddy. But yeah, we ran into each other in a tournament there. So I was going around, man, and I was going around with apples, and we were like just trying to take names. I was trying to figure it out, like what I wanted to do. I went between DK, I went Ness and stuff. Every tournament, I'd change my tag. I was one of those guys, like way before. And interestingly enough, how I remember you guys the best. Yeah, I'd always change tags. I believe the first tag I went with was ESN, which stood for Eat Shit Nerd. Then I think I moved on to Boatin when I played Squirtle, which stood for Bend Over and Take It Nerd. And then I thought it was really funny. And then there was I'm trying to remember when I was playing Lucas and Ness, which was like even earlier than that. I just went as like boy. And then there was Toasty. I was Toasty for a little bit, but when I really had to figure it out, it was actually at one of the tournaments here at the EPG house. Braden's like, dude, we're actually gonna do like rankings and you need a tag. And I was like, no, this week I'm gonna be
we're locking you in.
And you're like, no, man, you need to pick a tag. And I was like, dude, what tag am I gonna pick? And I'm looking through all the tags on the system in front of me.
Wait, you're just literally looking through what people
looking at them. Yeah, dude. I'm just like, what do other people have? Maybe it'll inspire me. And then I run into Punch and Kick, and I was playing Bowser at the time, and something just clicked in me where I was just like, dude, Bowser doesn't kick. It's kind of silly.
It's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's like stupid. Yeah, like why? Just like the moment you think about it,
it doesn't make sense.
And so I was like, I'm sold. I'm going as Kick.
It's the trolly thing to do.
Exactly, yeah. And then I like did decently, and I guess I had to stick with it. And then yeah, whatever.